Rio Giardinelli is with us. He is a guy who is a vice president of a company that makes cooking equipment for high-end restaurants in L.A. and around the world. And he was up in New York at a conference, and he contracted COVID-19. His story is pretty amazing. Diagnosed with pneumonia and coronavirus, he was admitted into the ICU, put on oxygen, and he made no improvements after a week. Doctors told him there wasn't anything else he can do. He started to tell his family goodbye until there was a friend that called and said there's a potential cure for coronavirus, and doctors gave it to him. We welcome Rio on the phone with us now. Hi, Rio. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling terrific. Just hoping
That's
to get out of here soon.
so you're still in the hospital,
I am.
and you've been there for how long?
Just a little over a week now.
Okay. So tell me when you started feeling this way, Rio. What were the first signs?
Was driving home and just felt really tired and washed out. It had been 3 weeks of travel, so I wasn't surprised. Went home, thought I was going to take a nap, and at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and wound up sleeping until about 3 o'clock in the morning. When I woke up, I had a fever and a headache, and said, all right, well, I'm in bed for a couple of days now, so I took my aspirin or Tylenol, and it just continued for about 5 days. I started developing a back pain and a cough, and knew something wasn't right. So made phone calls to hospitals and urgent cares and doctors, and no one, everybody pretty much said you need to stay home and don't come here because we don't want to infect other people. Wasn't able to get a test, and found out that a hospital near me was providing the test. So drove to the hospital and was going to go in line underneath the tent to take my test, but I was sweating profusely and about passed out. They grabbed me and took me into the ER, and I've been here since. Things progressed and got to the point where breathing was very tough and getting labored. Speaking got very tough, and on Friday, it just got to the point where, in my mind's eye, I wasn't going to make it till Saturday morning. I was tired of it. 9 days of fever, ranging from anywhere from 100 degrees to 102. And on that day, I just decided to call some friends and family and kind of say my goodbyes. When I reached out to a friend in the Keys and spoke to him, he didn't want to hear anything about it, and he started reaching out to a big group of friends of ours, and everybody started chiming in, and a very good friend of mine texted me and said, hey, you need to try this medicine. I'd never heard of it, didn't know it existed, and was
And
very
that's the hydroxychloroquine?
It is.
The hydroxychloroquine, yes. And so your friend turned you on to it. Go ahead.
He did, and I mentioned it to the nurse, who then mentioned it to the doctor. Doctor came in and said it wasn't something he could prescribe, but put me in touch with a infectious disease doctor who listened to my story and authorized the use. The nurse came in 30 minutes later, gave it to me. And during that night, I had a couple of complications that were unrelated to the medicine, but more to do with the virus. And when I woke up at exactly 4:45 in the morning, I woke up and realized I no longer had a fever. My back pain had subsided, and I was feeling good. I was feeling like I was ready to go out in the boat.
Now, the doctors are saying that this isn't necessarily from the hydroxychloroquine, but, what else would it be from?
Well, they're saying, they said that the complications I had the night before weren't. The heart, my heart was pounding out of my chest. They said that was probably more about the progression from the virus, and maybe a little case of anxiety. Like I said, I thought I was facing the end of my life. But they came in, they got me calmed down, gave me some Benadryl and something else to help me go to sleep. And when I woke up, I was, I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but I was feeling absolutely perfect to the point that I called the nurses in. They came in, and all my vitals were back to normal. I no longer had the fever that I had for the 9 days previous, and haven't had a temperature ever since. I feel great. Only thing I had was a lingering headache, but that was a small price to pay.
So we got this story from our reporter, Haley Winslow, and she's the one that hooked us up with you. And she said, I'm just glad this story is getting out there. Hopefully it can save millions of lives. Haley, I don't think understands either why this story is not everywhere. Instead, the press is focusing on some people that drank some stuff or took some tablets that were for what was it, Stu? Like a fishing pond or something
fish
like
tank,
that?
yeah.
It's what? Fish tank. They weren't even paying attention to what was being said, and you can't take this without a doctor's supervision.
No, that's correct.
What were the doctors and the nurses there? Because it's not the way we're getting your story. We're not getting it from the hospital saying it was a miracle, this stuff worked. They're saying they're not sure.
No, they're certainly being cautious about it. They say there's no science behind it. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I can just tell you how I feel. And I know that I was not doing well in my mind. I didn't believe I was going to be here by the morning. And when they gave it to me at 4:45 when I woke up, if you don't have a fever and you don't have the signs anymore, I don't know anything else to attribute it to but that medicine. And it was told to me to ask, and it's not only me that it's worked for. There's many people this has worked for. So, I certainly understand the hospital's position. They may not be too happy with me telling my story, but the facts are the facts.
I'm glad you are. I'm glad you are. Do you know, are they using it for any other patients there in the hospital that you are at?
From what I understand, yes, they are.
Okay. And have you heard any results on that?
No, nothing at all. Nothing
okay.
at all.
They're I was reading. Go ahead.
No,
They're what?
They don't talk about the other patients too much. It was just a general statement made by one of the nurses.
Okay. So there's a South African swimmer, won gold medal for 100-meter breaststroke in 2012. He's been training to go to the Olympics this summer. He just contracted COVID-19. He's had it for 14 days. He said and he's in shape, and his lungs are obviously in shape. And he said, it's the worst virus I've ever endured. He said, I'm really healthy with strong lungs. He said the symptoms were all severe. He said it started as serious fatigue. Then he said even any kind of walking just left me exhausted for hours. He said there's just nothing like this. It's not the flu. The guy we just had on right before you, Rio, he said it was just a bad flu. Where are you on this?
Well, I can tell you that I'm a businessman that sleeps maybe 5 hours a night and have done that my entire life. And this had me sleeping 12 to 15 hours a day. And I never sleep that much. So I can go with the fatigue and understand that 100%. I think it hits everybody a little bit differently depending on who you are. The headaches were just intense. The fever was there was nothing you could do to break the fever. The cough. Now, I didn't get the sore throat that other people get. So I guess it's an individual thing. But I will tell you, this is nothing you want and nothing you want to play with because it was totally debilitating to me.
Great. I'm glad that you're doing so well, Rio. And do you any idea when you go home?
I'm really hoping today, but I haven't had an opportunity to speak to the doctor yet, and the nurses don't know. So with any luck, I'll
Good.
be out here this afternoon. I'm starting
That's
to feel
great.
like Groundhog Day.
There's nothing worse when you're feeling better and ready to go. There is nothing
That's
worse
right.
than being trapped in a hospital. All right. Thank you so much. I
Just trying to
appreciate it.
get home
Real.
with my family. Thank you very much.
Yep. God bless.